What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and this I want to talk about the overall market and break down something very important involving these levels we're watching, and also whether or not the market is very likely to see a pullback for the month of August. But before I break anything down all this information, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so make sure you take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends very soon. It ends tomorrow, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. All right, guys, looking at the market, I just want to mention, and I want to make a video about like the bigger trend right over here. So basically what I'm seeing right now is looking at SPY, this thing's been pretty much just stuck for the last, couple of weeks, going back and forth between supply and demand and support and resistance. And it's been stuck like this for quite a while. And we have a possible head and shoulders setup that is developing, but I don't think it's going to play out immediately. And there's no guarantee it's going to play out like how some people are thinking. Now, a lot of people out there are thinking the market's going to crash, it's going to drop really hard. Well, you have to remember that the market's still holding above our 200 EMA, and we're still holding above our 452 support. If 452 breaks, yes, you could change my opinion. The market could start sinking. But I do want to mention that, the market has been pumping very, very hard for the last few months, especially like right here, without getting any decent pullback. And we do have these gaps down here on SPY, which I believe will eventually get filled. But there's no guarantee it has to be like immediately, and there's no confirmation of us actually changing this trend. Because when we would pump, okay, there were instances where we pumped to the upside. We had little pullbacks for a few days before we continued pushing, came down a little, then we pushed and pushed and pushed. But the thing to remember is that looking at the market, we hit this really tough resistance as we're getting closer to all-time highs. This is this 460 resistance, and SPY struggled to break this. And there's a chance the market could start changing directions because of earnings or some other factors out there. However, you should not assume it's going to happen immediately because it could take a little bit longer than what some people are expecting. It may take a little bit longer. It could take a couple of days, could take another like week or so. And we need some kind of catalyst, so we're going to be watching the news to see it. But I just want to remind you all, for SPY, on the bigger trend, okay, you're going to be watching the 452 support to see if that ends up breaking. If that breaks and we get below 450, this thing is going to sink like a rock and start filling some of these gaps. But we need a catalyst and we need confirmation first before we could truly turn into bears. Now, what do I think is very probable that's going to happen, right? I think the market may try to hold up for the time being. And then what's going to dictate the move is going to be these earnings right here. PayPal is going to start it off. And then we have Amazon, Aapl, and Coinbase, especially Aapl earnings. Those are going to determine which way the whole market moves. And if these two giants end up sinking and the market starts to panic, we could see a big, big, big pullback starting. Now, is it going to be a crash? No, I'm not calling it a crash or anything like that. I'm talking about a very healthy, like 3 to 5% pullback on SPY, maybe even more than that. But something like that could be starting, and it could be starting from Apple's earnings. But before that happens, before we get to like Thursday/Friday, the market may try to hold up temporarily. The market may trade sideways. Like if you look at what SPY has been doing for the last few days, it's very stationary. It's very sideways, very range bound. Just look at it. It's been stuck, not really doing much. Back and forth and back and forth, boring, choppy price action. Eventually something's going to break, and I'm starting to think that this is going to start favoring the downside with this head and shoulders like setup, but I'm not counting on it just yet until we get confirmation of the break to the downside. For now, it looks like the market may try to hold up, even going into tomorrow, because we do have more earnings coming out, but we are going to be approaching PayPal's earnings very soon. Then we have Apple and Amazon very soon after that. I think these things may hold up approaching their earnings. They may even pump a little bit. The market could still bounce a little bit approaching these dates. All right, just like how like when Tesla had its earnings, it pumped. We might see something similar, for like Apple and Amazon. Maybe not as hard, but just like a little pump, and then whatever happens during their earnings will determine what happens to the market. Could we see a pullback? My gut tells me it's more probable, but we don't want to assume that until we get like confirmation, right? So I want to make that as clear as possible. I also want to talk about Nvda. Looking at Nvidia, it isn't really tanking very hard. It's only down like 0.1% right now at the time I'm recording this. It's also not pumping very hard. It's pretty much just very, very flat as of right now based off its level, but we did see some volatility in the morning. In the morning, it came down to 460, got a nice bounce all the way to our resistance around this 469 area. Came right back down, and it's getting very, very tight. So we're going to be watching for a big move on Nvidia. And I believe it's going to be dictated by AMD. AMD's earnings will play a big role in which way it ends up moving after the market closes. If AMD gets a nice bounce, that could help Nvidia. If not, this thing could slow down. But looking at this from a technical standpoint, it's trading sideways basically, bouncing very close to our 200 EMA, not doing a whole lot for like the shorter term. But on the bigger time frame, if you like zoom out a lot more, you will see that there is a possible inverse head and shoulders setup that is still possible to play out. But well, like I said before, I'm not going to like promise anything. I think it is possible, but we need confirmation first. We have to break 470 and then 474 for us to get that break to the upside and push for 480. We haven't really done that yet, and it's getting very, very tight. So I'm expecting a big move for Nvidia and AMD approaching earnings. It's going to be very fun to watch. If AMD rockets, this is going to help Nvidia push up to these higher levels. If the opposite happens to AMD and this thing starts dropping really hard, I think that's going to have a big effect on Nvidia as well. Now we have a bullish structure on AMD developing, but you never know with earnings, so always be open-minded and be prepared for anything. But as far as Nvidia goes, there is technically, the setup that is existent. It is technically existent. It is a possibility that it plays out. We could be forming like a cup and handle, but just to be safe, make sure you manage risks and you're very careful. This thing is just trading sideways for now, and a big move is going to be coming. For Aapl, you're going to be watching this resistance all the way up about this like 196.6 level. Break above that, then we have 197.2. If it gets above all these resistance levels, we could see a nice push for about 198 and then potentially even 200. But the problem is, okay, Aapl has been holding up nicely, reaching its all-time highs. You're getting very close to them over and over again, continuing to make new all-time highs. But the problem is, if you look at Apple's chart, this is what it looks like on the 4-hour time for just continuing to pump. Is Apple going to keep going? Is Apple going to see 220? Or is Apple going to get a rug pull because of earnings? Okay. I say this because if Apple does get the rug pull, it's going to be heavily dictated by its guidance and what is said about what they're projecting for their outlook. What's going to happen to their sales for their iPhones? What's going to happen to their software? What's going to happen to all these different things? And I'd be very careful looking at the current economy. There is still more signs of contraction that is happening. You can see right over here. Layoffs declined in June, but we started to see job openings slow down to the slowest we saw since like April of 2021. So if Apple gets the rug pull after earnings, for now, I think it's going to hold up approaching earnings, maybe even pump a little bit more. But if it gets that rug pull after earnings, the market's going to sink down. Apple's a monster. It has lots of control. And I just want to warn you all about this. Make sure you're very, very careful. We will see what happens, but just be open-minded. And finally, for Tesla, Tesla's looking a little weak. Unfortunately for Tesla, it tried to break its 50 EMA again and just failed miserably to break it, unfortunately. And we got hit with more bearish news involving the investigation. Looking at Tesla, it's looking relatively weak. If it breaks this 260 support, that is it for Tesla. It's going to come all the way down to fill this gap most likely very soon, looking relatively weak. We have a bearish cross on the PPO, continuing to downtrend, and it's looking to me like it is losing more and more of its relative strength, which it maintained for the last couple of days. Now, technicals are suggesting the same things. I'm just looking at this from this standpoint. In my opinion, what's going to determine how Tesla moves will be the whole market in the tech sector. That's going to play a big role for it as well. And it has a lot of gaps down in the 200s, the lower levels. So there is a chance those could get filled, but we're going to be watching our confirmation to see which direction it breaks in. Like I said earlier, if it breaks the 50 EMA, it could still try to push up for, these imbalances. It's a possibility, but it's unlikely unless we get some kind of like really big news. We need something really big to happen for that to be the case. We need a catalyst, and so far we're not getting it. If it continues to sink and Apple ends up like missing earnings and something really bad happens, Tesla could drop all the way down to the 200 EMA. And if that fails us, if it breaks below the 200 on the 4-hour time frame, Tesla's going to be sinking pretty low into the 240s. Okay? I want to make that as clear as possible. We're going to be watching these levels carefully, the market is kind of sideways, very, very range bound for now. But what will determine which way we move and what will play a big role is going to be these big earnings coming out and future catalysts from data. We have unemployment numbers coming out for Friday, and the market is due for a possible pullback. But like I said before, although it's probable, I'm not going to count on it and say it will happen with 100% certainty until we get confirmation from the technicals. We need to break below, for example, our another support is our 50 EMA right now. That's what's holding up the market on the 4-hour time frame. Break below like 454, get below 452, and that's it. We're going to start sinking most likely. Wait for confirmation, wait to see if the setups play out, and see what the news is saying and how on earth the current catalysts are looking. Watch earnings very carefully, especially Amazon and Aapl. They could sink this market down, and we could be forming some downside signals. But always watch for confirmation, always try to be safe. That's what I wanted to say in this video. There's a risk of downside now just looking at the setups, but always be patient and do what you have to do. All right, so I thank you all for listening. Have a great day, everyone. The market to the moon, because despite this, I think the long term is still very, very bright, and it's best to be prepared for anything. Thank you, and peace out.